When you are anxious or when you have so many emotional triggers, this can actually block love, healthy relationships, more money, better work relationships, okay? But the problem is when we are anxious or when we have those emotional triggers, a lot of times, number one, we don't even realize that we're anxious. And number two, we don't know what triggered it, all right? But if you look at your anxiety, if you look at your emotional lens through the lens of, or your emotional triggers through the lens of psychology and astrology, your moon sign is what's going to help you to see where you're anxious or why you're anxious, okay? And the reason being is because the moon sign actually lets you know what you need personally to feel safe and secure. Okay. So I'm going to show you why this is the case, why your moon sign is going to help you with your anxiety, with your emotional triggers. Okay. So that you can get the medicine that you need from your moon. All right. To attract the life that you want. Because anxiety, emotional triggers actually zap so much of your energy that you can't attract or keep or maintain a lot of the things that you want in your life. All right. So we're gonna go do that. I'm gonna explain to you why this is the case, and I'm going to run through all 12 of the moon signs. You're going to be looking at your moon sign to see what you need to feel safe and secure so you're not prone to so much anxiety and so many emotional triggers. All right. But first, my name is Azura and I am your favorite healer. All right. And I help you to stop worrying so you can consciously manifest the life that you want. So, if that's something that interests you, go ahead and subscribe and comment below and let me know what do you want to stop worrying about this week, okay? So, let's get into it. Now, first I want to say that according to psychology, when you're born, all right, you depend on your mother for everything, unlike animals. Think about a crocodile. I really like how the psychologist Liz Green and Howard Sarasotis in their books, like The Psychology of the Sun and the Moon, they described it this way. All right. When a crocodile is born, a crocodile has teeth. A crocodile can crawl fast. A crocodile learns how to hunt really, really fast. All right. According to instinct. All right. And of course, they're taught a little bit, but they learn really, really fast what they need for their survival. But human beings, when we're born, we depend on our mother for our safety, for our security, for food, for shelter, for touch. All right. Studies have shown that infants who are not cuddled, touched, all right, they have higher mortality rates than infants who were not. So we depend on our mother for everything, for our survival. However, if we're born, right, and our mother is not able to give us those things, right, the food, the shelter, the love that we need to survive, then we won't feel safe in the world. Okay, because when we're born, our mother is our world. All right. For the first 6 months or so of your life, you actually think that you are your mother. You literally, your mother is your whole world. So if you don't feel safe with your whole world, your mother, all right, you're not going to feel safe in the world growing up. So you internalize anything that you didn't get as a child, as an infant, that's carried with you through. I don't care if you're 90 years old, that's carried with you throughout your life unless it's addressed. Now, what if you did have the safety, the security, you got the food, you got the shelter, you got the touch, all right, but you still have some anxiety. The reason being is because each moon sign also needs something separate according to who they are, right? According to how they express themselves to feel safe and secure, in addition to food, shelter, safety, all right? And this is according to your individual self. So, for example, I am a Gemini moon. So, in order for me to feel safe and secure in here, in my emotional body, by the way, the moon sign is also your nervous system, your emotional body. All right. In order for me personally to feel safe, in addition to the food security, the love, I also needed communication. I needed listening. I needed a certain amount of beauty and stimulation as a air moon sign in my life to feel safe. So today, I have to make sure that I have those things to not be anxious. I can be prone to restlessness as a Gemini moon because air sign moons need constant movement. All right, and social interaction. So as long as I can fulfill those needs myself, okay, because again, you are your mother. The moon sign also shows you your capacity to mother yourself. All right. At a certain point, it's not our mother's job to fulfill our needs. All right. It's okay for you to be upset if you didn't get certain things as a child as a child, but at some point, it's up to us to do that work. Now, anger that, your mother didn't give you if you have a mother wound, I've had two mothers. I've had two mothers because I was given up for adoption. So I had an adopted mother and a biological mother. Maybe you get upset with your mother, and that could be a catalyst, but at some point, you got to drop that and start mothering yourself because it's not up to them. All right. They have to mother themselves, and you have to mother yourself and give yourself everything you need. And there's no perfect mother. Nobody's going to be perfect. Okay. They did the best that they can. But anyway, making sure that I get what I need to soothe myself is my responsibility. All right. So, now that we have that handled, this is what I'm telling you. This is why your moon sign is going to help you with your anxiety. All right. Because if you feel safe in here, you get what you need according to your moon sign inside of you. All right. Then you'll feel safe in the world. All right. Then you won't be prone to compulsive behaviors like attracting bad relationships, attracting money problems, all right? Attracting bad work environments, anger, depression, boredom, like all of these, when you're anxious, there are certain compulsive behaviors, even by moon sign. Those can be separate. Those compulsive behaviors, if you don't give yourself, I like how the authors of the book Psychology of the Sun and the Moon, they said lunar, particularly Liz Green, they call it lunar food, moon medicine, right? As a healer, I like to say moon medicine too. If you don't give yourself the moon medicine that you need, then you are starving yourself of something that you need, right? To progress in life. It's all up to you. You have to mother yourself. You have to be your own parent in this lifetime in order to move to the next level of yourself. All right. So, with that being said, I'm going to go through each of the moon signs and let you know what you need to feel safe and secure, the consequences if you suppress and repress what you need if you don't carry it out, all right? And what exactly you need, right? What is your moon medicine in order for you to feel safe and secure, for you not to be anxious so much, and for you not to have so many emotional triggers, all right? Now, if you don't know your moon sign, you can go to astro.com and look it up. If you don't know how to pull up your birth chart, you go ahead and put in YouTube how to pull up your birth chart. All right. And if you want to go further, if you have no clue about astrology, if you're brand new to astrology, I actually have created a course as a Gemini moon. One of my gifts is being able to translate complex topics into language that people understand that makes it simple for them. All right, so I have a course called Astrology Made Simple. And what it does is it actually does go step by step you don't need to purchase it for this, but to help you pull up your birth chart, but it also explains the different signs in depth. Okay, the planets in depth so you can understand the energy of them. Okay, if you're brand new to astrology, I'll put the link below for you. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started to get into the moon signs and the moon medicine that you need to help you not feel anxious or have so many emotional triggers. We're going to start with the fire signs. Okay, so Aries moon, Leo moon, Sagittarius moon. Now, fire moons, what you need to feel safe and secure is to live a life of meaning, okay? Now, boredom is okay. In fact, boredom can be healthy for all of us, but you especially cannot be bored for long periods of time. You have a lot of fire, you have a lot of drive, you have a lot of passion, intensity, creativity that needs to be expressed. All right. And if you did not get this in your childhood, if you didn't have an outlet, right, where you could, let's say you're an Aries moon, all right. Aries moon needs a lot of, you know, containers where they can be the leader, where they can express themselves physically. Okay. Leo moons, you needed creativity. You needed to shine, all right, in your childhood. Sagittarius, you needed to be able to spout your wisdom, your your philosophy. You needed to travel, right? Long distances. You need to explore. If you did not get that in your childhood, that means that it's repressed. It's like fire waiting to explode. Okay, it's pent up inside of you. And the problem with this is that if you, let's say you're an Aries moon, Aries, and the thing about fire signs too, don't take this the wrong way because we all have God energy. Fire signs need to display their godhood a little bit more than the other signs. Okay. So, for example, Aries is the god of war, not the physical, it doesn't have to be the physical war. All right. Perhaps there is, some organization or, there's some part of your home that you're like, you know what, this is not working. You need to be able to declare war on some kind of like situation that needs to be fixed. We need your leadership energy. We need your godhood. So make sure you have an outlet for that. All right. Otherwise, you're prone to rage because it's all built inside of you. You need to have a container for leadership. Leo, you need to make sure that you are the sun god. Leo is ruled by the sun. So Leo moon, you got to make sure that you have a capacity somewhere where you're shining. All right. Think about Meg the Stallion. I've been told that she's a Leo moon. So her container is her performing. All right. Maybe you didn't get that opportunity to perform and be the center of attention. There's nothing wrong with that. We need you just because, and she also says this, but just because you shine doesn't mean it doesn't dim anyone else's light. Okay. In fact, it gives other people permission to shine. Creativity, hobbies, you need to make sure that you have an outlet to that. Otherwise, you can be prone to narcissism because you either exaggerate having to have the light on you, okay, or, you can destroy your relationships because you always want to be it's okay. Set up some karaoke time. Okay. Set up a time where, you are the center of attention or you're participating in sports, competitive. All this is really for all you. Competitiveness, all right? Sports, especially for Leo, hobbies, creativity. You need to shine somewhere in your life. Sagittarius, you need to make sure that because you love having the wisdom of spiritual wisdom and philosophy and the world traveler academia Okay, you need to make sure that there is a container for you to be the best at that. All right, that there's an outlet for that. Otherwise, it's going to be pent up. So, all of you all need to make sure that the fire, the passion, the intensity, the leadership, the competitiveness in you has an outlet. All right, because you don't want to destroy, implode, set afire your relationship, set afire your career. All right. We need you to have that sense of meaning in your life, all right? Um, just make sure that you aren't suppressing that need, okay? All right. And it's important that you heal the parts of you that feel like you need humility. Humility, fine, that's great. But don't don't be so humble. Don't hide behind humility. All right. Do not destroy your passion and your fire because you're like, oh, I need to be humble. Sure, in some areas, but in other areas, you need to freaking be the best. And it's okay. We need it. All right. We need the leaders. We need the celebrity. We need the star. We need the person who is giving us that with spiritual wisdom. All right. I promise it's okay. You're not going to be a narcissist. In fact, if you don't, then you're at risk of narcissism. Okay? So, that is the I also made this for you. Just you can go ahead and screenshot or come back and reference it. This is just, exactly what you need, just a summary of what I talked about. So go ahead and take a screenshot. The moon medicine that you need, the lunar food that you need in order for you to feel safe and secure. All right. Don't live a dull life. Don't do it. It goes against your nature. All right. Now, let's move over to Earth moons, okay? So we have Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What you need to feel safe and secure in your life is to be in tune with your body, okay? Because all of you, even Capricorn, Virgo, are incredibly sensuous. Sensuous is not sexuality. That's Scorpio. Sensual, okay, means that you have a sense of tactile stimulation, all right? And for you all, keeping your rituals is really, really important. Your body rituals, all right? You have a focus on food, on health, on um, structure, wellness, all right? And touch, okay? And if you don't keep up with whatever rituals that you need to feel safe and feel secure, you need order in your environment, okay? You need to feel good in your environment. You need to feel comfortable in your body and your environment. In fact, your home is another part of your body. It's literally your attachment, okay? So if you ignore those rituals, or if you're too anxious, okay, you can become a little bit too obsessive compulsive about the rituals to where it just overtakes your entire life. So set aside that time for yourself, for your rituals, to feel pleasurable in your body, okay? Because otherwise it's going to be suppressed. And yes, you also another consequence of you suppressing that part of you, your body, okay? Feeling good in your body, feeling good in your home, your environment, is that it can manifest as bodily illness, okay? Because the body is super important to you. Another thing that's important to you is materials, like material wealth, okay? So maybe some of you may have had housing security or housing insecurity, food insecurity, all right, health insecurities, money insecurities growing up. So that's really, really important to you. Okay. And so that's fine as long as you're not obsessive compulsive about it. Okay. So take your time, all right, with your body. Virgo, you have to make sure that your home environment is, feed your sense of health and wealth, or your sense of health and wellness, right? And making sure that it's an environment that's really organized for you. Okay, not obsessively take out take time out of your day to make sure you have that ritual and then go about your day. That way you won't feel anxious. All right, or criticize your environment too much. Virgo moons, you could tend to be really critical about your environment when you're anxious, or tend to be a little bit too perfectionist, kind of have a perfectionist attitude. All right. So when you tend to do that, just know that you're anxious and you need to take some time out for yourself. All right. Feeling into your body. Taurus moon, you need to make sure that you have the pleasures of life around you. Senses, and this is for all of you all, senses, food, smell, taste, touch. You have to make sure that, you have those things in your environment. Make sure it smells good. Make sure it feels good. Make sure it's comfortable for you. All right. And then Capricorn, you need a lot of, structure in your environment. So instead of being kind of like this tyrant in your home or tyrant with yourself, make sure, again, you just have this time for yourself to make sure that there's structure in your day. The beginning of the day, I always say it's literally the morning. Have your ritual set up in the morning. It's the most important thing for you. All right. And we know that the anti-anxiety moon medicine, okay, is making sure that you have a good ritual. This is for all of you all. All right. You're starting in the morning. That way, your day is going to turn out a lot better. Don't wake up and be like, oh, I'm gonna scroll. Don't wake up and be like, I'm gonna take care of everyone else. Take care of your own body needs first. All right. So that is what you need, is making sure that, and don't be shameful about it. That's another thing. Um, if you grew up feeling shameful about, the senses of pleasure in your body, that's another, consequence of the repression of it if you didn't get that growing up. Okay. So make sure you have that in your environment. I made this outline for you too to go ahead and screenshot Earth moons. And then another thing that I wanted to say about you is that you do need to feel useful in order to not be anxious. And the reason is because think about the earth. The earth is nature. Nature is always moving. Okay. So you being an earth sign, you always have to feel useful. Even Taurus. Taurus moves slow, but you still have to be moving. So don't overexert yourself, but just make sure that you have, again, when you're doing your rituals, make sure you have just a task or two. So that way you won't feel stagnant and like you're not moving, because you are nature and nature moves, okay? And in your body, your rituals. And that's it for you all. So now let's go to air signs. Okay. We have Gemini, we have Libra, and we have Aquarius. I'm like, how could I forget Aquarius? I'm Aquarius sun. Okay, so air signs. What you all need to feel safe and secure, your moon medicine, all right, is you need a sense of aesthetic beauty and stimulation and communication and social interaction. Yes, even if you are an introvert, okay? And by the way, a lot of you think that you're introverts, but you're actually ambiverts. Ambivert is a cross between the extrovert and an introvert, where you can be in situations where you can be the extrovert, right? But you need a lot of introverted time to recover, all right, from all of that interaction. You like the interaction, you enjoy it, but you just don't want it all the time, all right? So I would venture to say most of you probably are ambiverts, but you still need some type of social interaction. Now, it can be selective, right? But if you don't get that stimulation, think about air as having this beautiful aesthetic about it. As a Gemini moon, what I've discovered is I love seeing the wind play with the leaves on the trees and making the trees dance. And I realize it's just such a beautiful sight for me. All right. And that is because the element of air is actually really beautiful. It's stimulating, right? It moves. You need beauty and a sense of stimulation, right? With communication, the exchange of energy, the exchange of information. All right. And a lot of you need constant movement, okay? So, for example, Gemini moon, being able to move about the world is really important to you, okay? Taking walks and things like that. Libra, you need a lot of, yes, beauty. This is the beauty, the movement, and things like that. That's across all of the signs, but there are certain things, Libra, even though you love romance, you also have to have beauty in the romance. It's not enough just to have the romance, right? And Aquarius, you also need, you love ideals, right? You love helping people with ideas and that sort of thing and like groups, all right? And across all three air signs, you really need your independence. If you didn't get independence growing up, all right, if you weren't nurtured in your sense of some sense of isolation, because unlike water signs, air signs, you don't like to be fused with other people. You really, really, again, you like the social interaction, but you really don't like being always connected to people. Okay, even like I said, Libra, and this goes for all of us, but you can't lose yourself in a relationship. All right. Now, you're not cold when it comes to people saying that you're detached and that you're cold and you that is not the case. The thing with air signs is that emotions are so ambiguous to us. It's like we don't really understand the totality of emotions. So when people come at us with too much emotions, we're like, well, I can't analyze this, right? There's no words for the feelings. Okay, whatever the feelings are, it doesn't mean that we're cold. It's just like we don't like to be drowning in emotions. So in order to make sure that you're not that you actually can feel your emotions, make sure that you take that time out to yourself, all right? That you nurture and honor your individuality, that people around you honor and nurture your individuality, your need for some sort of independence. You can do both. You can feel, but you just can't deny that part of yourself. Otherwise, it's going to make you anxious if you don't take that time out for yourself. But also conversely, you also have to make sure that you have some sense of social interaction with the right people. All right. I have had interactions with some water moon signs who want me to kind of, feed and drown their emotion. It makes me uncomfortable. It doesn't mean I'm cold. It's just that I understand the beauty of living life, of going outside, of being stimulated by life. Okay, you have to make sure that you don't do that because you can be prone to depressions, especially air moons, okay? Because it has to do a lot too with the psyche. If your psyche isn't stimulated, if it's like too much emotional feeling, you can be prone to depression. You cannot be stifled. Maybe in your childhood, people try to stifle your need for a more vibrant life, a life of movement, a life of stimulation, a life of beauty, right? And this beautiful aesthetic of just life being so light and beautiful. It's okay, right? So make sure that you don't stunt yourself in that and that you give yourself time to just kind of play with life and not be bored. Don't have a jury life. That's going to be bad for you. It's going to be so bad. You're going to be so anxious, so depressed. I also made this outline for you to go ahead and screenshot so that way you can always have a reference to go back to see what you need to, get rid of your anxiety, okay, or at least calm it down. Okay, trust me. So that's what you need to feel safe and secure is to make sure that you have that stimulation, that beauty in life, all right? That social interaction. Now, for water signs, got our Cancer, we got our Scorpio, we got our Pisces, okay? In order to feel safe and secure, you need to have people to emotionally respond to you. The dilemma with water signs, though, is that it's important for you to respond to your own emotions and not require anyone else's validation of your feelings and not require for other people to hold your emotional labor and your emotional weight. Because the thing about water sign moons is oftentimes in your childhood, your emotional needs were not met. Okay, you weren't safe to emotionally vent. And a lot of water moons too, your parents actually they thought that their emotional needs were greater than yours. So like there can't be two infants in the house, so my emotional needs are over you, right? Or maybe you had to be the adult emotionally for them. All right, so your emotional needs weren't met. So in life, when you feel anxious, you want other people to respond to your emotions. And if they don't respond, even if it's an anger response, even if you're like if you say something to someone and they like respond in anger, that makes you happy because at least they're acknowledging your emotions. But if they just completely ignore you, ghost you, that is like a knife in the heart. Okay, like a three of the swords in tarot. Okay, because it pierces your heart. It makes you feel unseen. It makes you feel void, null and void because you like to merge with people, and emotions help you to merge with people. Okay, and it helps you feel like so close to people, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. The only thing is that if you continue to make other people responsible for your emotions, then you could be prone to manipulative behavior, you manipulating people into responding to you. Okay. And you could be doing this on a subtle level where you don't even realize that you're doing it. You're like, I just want them to respond to me. I'm not a water moon, but I feel like I'm an air moon, but I feel like I've done this in some stage of my life. I'm a Cancer rising too, so that could be it too. I feel like I've done that, and it's no shade. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But I had to learn personally that I just like I'm not responsible for other people's emotional labor. They're not responsible for mine. And my feelings do matter. But I don't need to be like, well, you're not emotionally intelligent. That's another thing we love saying. And like water moon, water places. We'll be like, that person is emotionally unavailable. Okay, part of the reason why you attracted that could be because you're not emotionally available to yourself first. If you need to cry, I had a good cry this morning, literally. And I just held myself, right? I hold myself so I don't need other people to hold me. Now it's okay to like, every once in a while, maybe you're crying by yourself and just someone happens to come because spirit universe always knows when you need additional help, okay? But don't go chasing it. Understand that you can meet your own emotional needs. This is why the moon sign is also your nervous system. So, regulating your nervous system, okay, I'm anxious right now. I want someone to acknowledge my emotions. What do I need to do to calm my nervous system down, meet my own needs? If I need to cry, okay, fine. That's what I needed in that moment, and I did it for myself. And I didn't I'm not participating in unhealthy behaviors, compulsive behaviors, like connecting with people who don't care about my emotions. By the way, your brain only likes what's familiar. So if you're not meeting your own emotions, right? And you attract people who don't meet your emotions, your brain is going to continue to make you attract that. And you're going to continue to latch on to people who do not meet your emotional needs because you do not, because also you are a mirror. Everyone else is a mirror of what you are. And because you don't meet your own emotions, all right, your own emotional needs. It's really, really important that you make sure that you have a healthy outlet for your emotions and don't suppress it, but also don't be trying to make other people responsible for your emotions. Okay? Take it from me as someone who isn't even a water moon. It's really, really important. And it can lead to a lot of destruction in relationships. I made this outline for you too as a reference of what you need, okay, to emotionally regulate yourself. All right. So that way you can go ahead and screenshot it if you want to, okay? And stuff like that if you're not careful with that, okay? So that's what you need to feel safe and secure. And that way, you can live a more rounded life when you feel more emotionally whole. When you meet someone, you're like, oh, you're not required to do my emotional labor. Okay? So, that is it for all the signs. If you came back for the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit the like. And also, I want to invite you to all of my other offerings I have to help support you to stop worrying about your life, start healing in your life, so that way you can move on to greater things in your life. Okay? Bye.